Greetings, folks. This video will highlight a match I had a few days ago in my Izyaslav, where in this battle I will lose the vast majority of my hit points very early, and I was concerned after that point whether I would be able to provide any contributive value to the match. But as we see, as the game develops, I do in fact bring value to the match and able to succeed using some careful tactics around staying concealed and using smoke and basically just trying to avoid getting those last few hit points taken from me and being sunk. So this is a domination match, tier 4, tier 5 ships on Strait. I am one of only 2 destroyers on our team. I am not a concealment build, so it will make it a little difficult for me to try to cap on my own. So I call out early that I'm looking for support from the team as we head to Charlie. And so let's see how things develop here as I approach the cap and things develop. I'm a little bit cautious here about going into the cap because I'm trying not to get detected by the planes if I can avoid it. But it becomes basically inevitable, and I've detected the Podvoisky here. So the Podvoisky is a serious gunship, obviously one tier up from the Izyaslav, which is no slouch, but it's not the tier 5 monster that the Podvoisky can be. So I make the choice to engage the Podvoisky because I felt like I had enough enough allies behind me to support my advance into the cap and attempt to shoot. Now I am a little bit concerned here that the Podvoisky may send torpedoes and expose me. Yes, in fact, here they come. But once I get detected here, I am going to just be fodder for 3 battleships and a destroyer, I believe. So, and this is where I'm going to end up losing the vast majority of my health, and I'm barely able to get away without dying. I do end up taking out the Podvoisky in this match. There we go. And now I'm down to 3,200 health hit points, but I think I take another big salvo right here. Yep, and that leaves me with 157 hit points to work with. I'm still detected, so I'm having to kind of do the wiggle waggle to avoid taking more shells. And I go off detection. Now I'm in a little bit of a quandary because I expended most of my health trying to take a cap that we were unsuccessful in taking. And our opponents have taken Alpha. We have not taken any caps. We actually are in pretty good position at Charlie to push in and try to take the cap. There you can see the Kaiser is pushing in. But I have to now be extremely careful. Even a single shell from any ship of any class can sink me at this point. So as I'm sailing around trying to think about, okay, how can I help my team aside from spotting? What else can I do? Well, I've noticed at some point here that there's no one attempting to take Bravo, and it looks like we can account for most, if not all, of the ships on the opposing side, and it looks like Bravo may be free and clear. I get detected here briefly, and thankfully the Königsberg is not looking at me, and I'm able to sail back out of detection. I realize that it's just too dangerous to try to help taking Charlie, so I'm going to sail away here and move north towards Bravo and attempt to take Bravo. Now again, I'm very lucky here that for the last 20 seconds or so, even though I was detected, no ship on the opposing team attempted to target me or finish me off. Now, one thing I am trying to do here is call targets, those that are trying to take the cap, so that we focus them down one by one. There's the aircraft carrier. We lost another cruiser. Now, you also notice right now we're behind. We have no caps. They've taken, the opposing team has taken one cap. They're trying to take a second. We're down 2 ships. That is, we're now down 5 ships. They're down 4. So we're at a pretty significant disadvantage. So I'm going to try to go in here and take Bravo, hopefully remaining undetected, so that I can take this without being harassed or running the risk of being sunk. We've lost all but 1 ship that was at Charlie. So our southern flank is more or less collapsed. Our northern flank is still relatively healthy. But we're contesting A as best, or I think, in fact, I think we are in A at this point. Oh no, not yet. And then we lose another ship. So we're now down 6 ships. They're down 4. I'm trying to get this cap. I'm also trying not to get spotted by airplanes if I can avoid it. And at this point, I've also noticed that the opposing carrier is likely parked near or behind this island that is on the southwest side of Bravo. So after I get this cap, and there's also a low health Congo. So after I get this cap, I decide that I'm going to sail over and see if I can find the carrier. Now, with this small channel and these islands, it will be difficult for the carrier to try to get a drop on me, at least with torpedoes. So I feel that I have a reasonably good chance of being able, if I'm able to find the carrier, of taking the carrier out. My biggest concern actually is, one, that this Congo is now starting to come back towards me, so I send preemptive torps in the hopes that he sails into them even if I get killed. His plane detects me, but he's not targeting me. Now we've lost our last ship at Charlie, and there is the carrier. The carrier is completely stationary. I'm just going to sit here and keep the island between me and the battleship. My biggest concern at this point is actually the secondaries, as few as they are, may hit me and take me out, because again, I have almost no health, and even a single shell striking me would likely sink me. So I'm waiting for my torpedoes to come back up. Here they come. The carrier starts moving. I'm trying to keep the island between me and the battleship, which is clearly now starting to target me. I'm hoping to get this carrier down before he's able to shoot at me. And there's the carrier. And now I am going to go into smoke and try to stay concealed and get some more torpedoes off on this Congo. I do not have adrenaline rush on this captain, but the torpedoes on these lower tier destroyers come up very quickly. I think it's even less than 40 seconds for this ship, and that the Congo is definitely within range of my torpedoes, so I'm able to send. And I'm going to make an interesting choice here, which after I watched the replay I realized was probably not a good decision. The carrier is also helping me out here by sending some torpedoes and reducing the health of the Congo further. I am electing to shoot, and if you'll notice, the Congo is only 2.2 kilometers. In fact, I think it gets within 2.1 kilometers of me. So I'm not even proximity detected. But the fact that I'm shooting and I'm still undetected was very interesting. And after I watched the replay, I realized this was actually a very risky move to be firing. I should have held my fire, simply waited for the Congo to be killed, and here I'm going to get my torpedoes off and finish off the Congo. So now I'm in a situation where I've been at 157 hit points for the last several minutes. I've been able to solo cap Bravo, take out a full health carrier, and finish off a battleship. So far I feel like I've been effective. And if you've also noticed, we are now have a ship lead. Now we're still behind because we have not had caps. So and there's no way I can obviously challenge a full health Kaiser at this point. So I'm going to go up north, try to use the terrain to be able to put fire on the Kaiser as it moves north. The Kaiser is going to threaten our hold on the Bravo cap. You'll also notice that the opposing Izyaslav is threatening our carrier. Fortunately, the Furutaka on our team has noticed this and is sailing over toward the Izyaslav to try to defend the carrier. The Giulio Cesare is moving towards Alpha. I don't know whether he's spotted by the Kaiser. My guess is he's not. The fact that the Kaiser is undetected, either the Cesare is protected by the island or is out of detection range. But the Cesare isn't even close to the same health as the Kaiser at this point. But he is firing on the Kaiser, which is an interesting choice. And my goal here is to come over and leverage this island that's to my starboard side and put fire on this Kaiser to try to keep him from taking the Bravo cap. But it's very important that I stay concealed so that the Kaiser cannot destroy me. Now the Izyaslav is finally successful in taking out our carrier, but the Furutaka immediately takes out the Izyaslav. Now we have again a slight ship numbers advantage, 3 ships to 2. We are, however, dealing with a very healthy Kaiser, and I'm able to put some fire on him and get some defended ribbons while staying concealed. The Kaiser makes some interesting choices in terms of his positioning relative to the Giulio Cesare, and you'll see here over the next few rounds of shells exchanged by the Kaiser and Cesare that the Cesare is able to put some really strong damage in on the Kaiser. That hit was pretty good, but I think there's another one that is even more intensive. I'm able to get a fire on the Kaiser. I'm now going to angle back toward the island, so I keep the island between me and the battleship. I'm also trying to get into a position where I can send my torps. So if the Kaiser continues to move north, I'm able to lay down a spread. There's another very solid hit by the Cesare on the Kaiser. I'm now angling in to send torpedoes. And I have kind of a frustrating drop here. I get all my torpedoes off, and the torpedo indicator indicates that I am free and clear to send. But you'll see here that out of the 9 torpedoes I send, 6 of them get taken out by the terrain. And so only 3 make it through toward the Kaiser. But fortunately, all 3 will land home on the Kaiser. No flooding, unfortunately. But this has now put the Kaiser on actually worse footing than the Cesare, and so now the Kaiser is in a crossfire between me, the Cesare, and Furutaka. So we're able to put some serious fire here, and I think I get the final kill here. More salvo, I think, down. Oh, maybe it's after this. So again, very early in the match, I lose the vast majority of my health. I've been sailing around since, I think, the 3rd minute with 157 hit points, and was concerned whether I'd be able to provide any value to the team. And I've been able to take out 3 ships and have done now 84,000 damage. I'm being a little bit cautious in coming out here because I'm not sure where the last remaining ship is. The Karlsruhe, the Cesare, and the Furutaka are in relatively good shape to be able to sink the Karlsruhe, even if I were sunk. But I'm going to move forward here and try to detect him. The Karlsruhe has not been seen for some time, so there's some suspicion that he was AFK at this point. As it turns out, he was. So kind of spoiler alert here. So we're basically going to move south as a group, try to identify, in fact, there it is, the opposing team, a player has called out to indicate where the opponent is. Apparently we have we have opposing players that want to get their ships back and get the match over with as soon as possible. So heading south here to finish off the last of the opponents. So this was actually a very exciting match on a couple of levels. One is obviously my own health, the fact that I was able to provide some value to the match, even after taking a serious beating here at Charlie. But also we were behind for the vast majority of the match. In fact, it was only within the last minute or so that our score has now put us ahead. In fact, one thing that I'm also cognizant of at this point is that if I were sunk, that would put our opponents back ahead, because the point differential between our score and our opponent's score is small enough that if I were sunk, they would end up taking the lead again. Now, there's enough time here. There's about 3.5 minutes left that if the opponent were detected, and I'm doing a little trial test here to see if I'm in detection range, which I am, but I'm not being targeted, so it does look like this ship is AFK at this point. I'm going to go in, try to take this cap. And there is the last ship. And he is just sitting there on the map edge with his engine running, so he's actually moving slightly to the east at a very slow rate. So I actually end up having to put my target slightly to his port side to hit him. Set a fire on him. And so now it just comes down to who gets the last kill. Am I going to get a Kraken here, or is one of my teammates? At this point, I don't really care whether I get a Kraken, because I took what was a very dire situation and turned it into a successful match with a victory. So a very good match, earned a lot of XP because we were getting the plus 200% bonus on first win of the day. I came in top of the leaderboard for the team, destroyed all but one of the ships that I encountered or fired upon, and actually got enough XP that I got my 15th point on my my Izyaslav captain. So with that, thanks much for watching. Happy sailing out there, and we'll catch you later.